that this is about power to you. And you want to know what we know. And one day, you will.
Close so we can hear what's going on. Well, what's up? What's up? Good morning, early afternoon. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. Got a new light. Trying to figure out a little bit. I paid $7 for it, and it does a lot of different shit. So I had to figure, should I close my drapes or not? Because today in Pennsylvania, you can actually see the sun because the wildfires are a little bit. I don't know what's going on there, but anyways, real quick before I get started, I shared a link on my community page I found on Reddit in one of the TV stations. I wish I'd have wrote the name down, but go check it out on my community page. What they did is they put all the documents in. It looks like they scanned them because, you know, sometimes when they scan them, they're a little bit off. And they scanned them in so you can scroll through all the documents without opening up a thumbnail. What the hell is this? What the hell is that? So a lot of good coverage yesterday. So I did my We Talk, which I can't share with you because they have to clear it with the higher ups, apparently. So hopefully we could have something on that. But I did about an hour-long talk. I told you about that PTSD. Everybody liked my ideas and what I was want to push towards. And we are pushing toward a weed strand named after the McKeesport Fire Department. And, you know, as you see me in the beginning there doing my doctor-prescribed activity, I don't drink that much. I don't take any pills, not a Tylenol, nothing anymore, right? I used to be prescribed all kind of shit. But for me, marijuana has worked on 100 different levels. But that's not what today's about. Today's about the Delphi documents. And after we get the email, Frank Meister gets the email, it comes out the next day. So I appreciate Frank's work. There was a lot of people yesterday. Sleuth, Marv did a marathon. And she stayed on there. Just Deb saying, is that Fox 59? Yeah, they did a really good job putting everything together. Someone at Fox 59 is way smarter than me. I did have that idea. It'd be nice if everyone took all these documents and put them together so you could just scroll up and down all 200 whatever pages. I had the idea, but what I lacked was the know-how to do it. So, but check out on my community page, like, subscribe, trying to get myself up in this algorithm here a little bit to reach more people and stoke more brains, stoke more minds. A lot of people did a lot of good work yesterday. A lot of people have different theories about this case and different POIs or things like that. And I'm okay with all of them. As long as you're not, publicly killing somebody that shouldn't be, necessarily being killed in the public eye. I rule out the families at this point. I don't see anything whatsoever that's leading me to believe that they are involved whatsoever or haven't come forward with all the information that they have. The younger the person is that's murdered or the child that's killed, the more likely the family does it. That's just the statistic because the kid has less access to other people. So the only people around this kid are the family. Teenagers are kind of different. Yeah, you still look at the family. And Doug Carter said in one press conference, like kind of threw his hands up and said, "You don't think we would look at the family? You don't think we did that?" So I think that they did that. Someone probably tipped them in. Probably multiple people did. Oh, this one knows this. This one knows that. They ran that strand out. If people have theories about the family and they're not slamming them, I'll listen to anything anyone has to say, but I just don't see it. I don't get it. So Michelle says Frank's the man. I agree. Frank the Tank. Frank's a bulldog. Okay. So thanks for sharing that. Again, check out that community page. It's relatively simple to go through. Once you open it up, go to the link and it says click here or something to read the documents and they have them all scanned in. So couple things that stuck out to me immediately getting into it and reading it. And I watched a couple people reading it on live, which was awesome. Marv was on. She had like a 4.5 hour prof live where she covered everything. And she soldiered there. I don't know if I'd be able to do that. I like to talk, but 4.5 hours is a long time on here. So as I'm listening to that, I'm going through and I'm looking up stuff, jotting down notes here and there. And there's just a couple things that I want to come up with today that I want to talk about. One of the things is let's talk first about the motion. And I have it here on my phone. Basically, it was an order to keep quiet. You can't talk about this case, and only certain people can view certain materials. Let me explain to you what I think that is. Okay. So again, this is in the case file or all the document dumps. So it is an order. Comes now the Court of State of Indiana. McClellan, prosecuting attorney, files a motion requesting protective order governing discovery. The court, being duly advised in the premises, now grants the motion of the state. The defendant and counsel for the defendant are now instructed and ordered as follows. So this is basically saying once you get the discovery evidence, you can't say anything about it to anybody, and only a limited amount of people are able to see this evidence. Okay, only a limited amount. Can only be used for the court. Only can be used for this case. One copy of the discovery material shall be provided to the counsel of the defendant. Only one copy. They're not allowed to make more copies of this. Whatever this is, a copy. Could it be paper? Sure. I think it's something digital. No additional copies of the discovery material shall be made by the defendant, the defendant's counsel, investigator, expert, or any other representative or agent of the defendant for any reason. Nobody can make any copies of this from the defense. You get one copy, that's it. Everyone has to view that copy. You can't make more. You can't send it out, okay? The discovery material should not be used for any purpose other than to prepare for the defense in the above referenced case number. So you can't use this material anywhere else for any other reason except for the purpose of this case. It goes on and on. This was number 5. The discovery material may be viewed only by parties, counsel, and counsel's investigators and experts. So this goes on here. This order agreed to by the judge, and there's 11 things in all. But basically, it's this. It's CSAM, okay? That's why no one's allowed to look at this. No one should look at this. And the people that are looking at this, I'm sure all of them, except for probably one of them, and I think that's Richard Allen, don't want to see this shit. They don't want to look at this, but they have to understand this is the evidence of the case. We have to look at bad shit sometimes. I don't know this for a fact. I was never a police officer. I've only been into true crime really for a couple years now. But what else can it be if it's not CSAM? So where's the CSAM coming from? I think it's coming from the phones, the multiple phones. I'll talk about that in a second. All theory, all speculation on my part. And remember, I try to attack everything from the mental angle, the criminal psychology angle, which I'm very, very, very novice at. But the more that I study, the more that I learn. I'm able to pick things up pretty fast, but I'm very, very far from being John Douglas or anybody like that. So I'm not that. But stuff that I learned, I could see these things kind of happening. Okay, so let's think about that order that you can't view this. Okay, let's make the bridge, which isn't a huge bridge, but let's make the bridge to say that they got digital data from him. Whether it be the 13 phones, right? Everyone's like, oh, we save our phones. We save our 13 cell phones. I'm going to tell you something about Richard Allen from a profiling angle. And this is something I could have told you before I got in studying criminal profile. A dude like that, think about like your dad or your grandpa or your uncle who's not maybe the most technologically savvy person in the world. They're going to keep their goddamn cell phone as long as they can because they know how to work it. At age 44, I've gotten to that place. Oh, you could get a new phone. Well, I don't want a new phone. Oh, it takes pictures. Like, well, I'm not James Cameron. I want to know that I can pick my phone up and I can work the son of a bitch. And I don't have to have one of my kids come downstairs, one of my girlfriend's kids, to help me open up to get my fantasy team up. All right. This dude isn't going through 13 phones in his lifetime. There's no chance of it. I don't think there's any chance of it. Even if he had work phones. What are these phones? I theorize at this. I theorize two things. I theorize it's a burner phone or multiple burner phones. I theorized that the phone that he was looking at going to the trail was a burner phone. Okay. Maybe he took his phone with him. Maybe he didn't. The data will show where he was. If he was using that phone and doing some kind of interaction or sending something, I found this out, the GPS could come down on it, right? They could figure out, okay, you were right here or whatever when you were doing this. Could they go back in 2017 and do this like they can today? I don't know. I believe they can, but no one's giving me a definitive answer. But stay with me on this theory here a little bit. Let's say he's on the burner phone tracking them on Snapchat, okay? Again, part of my theory would be Keegan Klein somehow got word to him, or they may even know each other. Maybe he sold the passwords. Maybe he sold him a phone and said, this is what you need to do. Richard Allen says, oh, pictures aren't enough. Whatever I was doing with these girls isn't enough. Okay. Assuming he's the Anthony Schatz persona and one of the people using it. He got the burner phone. He knows he can't tell people. Oh, everyone saw him on his phone. I can't say I'm on Snapchat, right? So I'm looking at my stalks. Was there ever a question to the witnesses about what the phone looked like? I don't know that. I hope that there was. He was on his phone. Did you see him on his phone? Yeah, we did. What kind of phone did he have? You know what? He had one of them old flip phones, and these young kids would recognize that. Has that happened? I don't know. That would help because they could say, yeah. And who's going to identify a phone? Let me tell you something. A teenage kid, there's a better chance of a teenage kid because I have two. One of them's 20 now, but one of them's still 19. A teenage kid will be able to identify a phone someone's carrying before they're going to identify their face. There's a good chance that they're so into the phones and things like that, they look up and say, oh, he has the new iPhone, whatever the fuck. Or he had one of them old crazy grandma phones. Remember the phone Grandpa had because he didn't know how to work it? The numbers were this big and there was 3 numbers in it. Think about that. That's a theory. If he's on the burner phone, his phone information might not be saying, oh, he's doing something on his phone, or he might have left the phone in the car. So if they did get information off any of those phones that had any kind of CSAM or whatever on it, I believe they did, or from the little, what the hell is the thing called you plug in the USB drive, something was in there that's making this order come out and be very specific that no one could talk. This isn't your normal crime scene photos. I don't think, I'm sure there's some in there, but I think this is something specific to the discovery. And it's a theory. I don't know it for sure because we're missing 19 documents still, or 19 pages. Plus there's 3,000 pages of discovery, over 3,000. So we know a portion of their defense against it. The totality of evidence, as people have been saying, no, not totalitarian. The inside of the police tell you that. You need to look at that. it is, I mean, make a list of what things that go against him and make a list of things that go for him. And if you find one or two things, say, haha, you can't explain this. But if I got 23 things on the other side, they don't cancel each other out. But that's my thought on that particular part of it, that document. They got some digital CSAM from him somehow. And I still think in some sort of way that Keegan Kline is involved, meaning he put them on them girls somehow. Was Keegan Kline's job like a Romeo? He'd get in, he'd catfish these girls, think him who he is. Oh, I'm this guy here. I'll sweet talk you. Then they start exchanging pictures or whatever the hell they're doing or just talking to him. Then he sells it out to a Richard Allen type. Maybe he doesn't even know who he is. Maybe he knows him through the CSAM ring. The largest CSAM ring in the history of Indiana was launched off Keegan Kline's phone. I find it highly improbable that Richard Allen wasn't somehow tied up in that CSAM ring. Somehow, some way. I don't think that Keegan Kline was there. He's not the kind to kill people. He's a watcher. He's a voyeur. He's a big fat dude in the back that's afraid to do anything except unless he's on a phone. He lives through the phone. He doesn't have real world experience. And his dad, I mean, I was surprised that maybe he wasn't on a witness list because could he come up later? Sure. But maybe at this point, you know, I'm very, very, Kennedy said that. Kennedy said that in another chat somewhere or maybe on one of my things. And I didn't see that you just put that, but you brought that up. So maybe it was just a Kline doing this, but I still think that there's something to do with it. The court actions matched up too much. Kline would do something, Allen would do something. You know what I mean? There was so much posturing. So let me answer a couple questions. I only have like three other topics that I want to cover. They'll take a while. So remember that. Let me hit on that again. That document that came out, that motion, you can't talk about it. I think that CSAM. That's why there's no copies allowed to be made of any of this shit, right? Nobody needs to see this shit ever, but these people have to look at it. These attorneys and these police officers, they have to look at it. Richard Allen's probably getting jollies off it. Let me tell you something about Richard Ramirez. Richard Ramirez had jail interviews where he talked to people, and he was able to get all the crime scene photos because it was all part of his case. He would sell and let people use these crime scene photos. And they would do their thing for whatever time it took them to do it, and then they would pay Richard Ramirez back. But they can't keep the photos from the person because it's part of the case. So they relish this shit. They relish this shit, in my opinion. So we talked about that. 13 phones. Could they be wives, daughters? Sure, they could be. But if you're looking at the types of phones that are coming out, you know, anything he did at any point is going to be on that phone. If he did some weird type shit, you know what I mean? If he did. So 13 phones is a lot. Where it's kept is kind of funny. You know, you have your Keepsake box. The Keepsake box also held a clip with 8 bullets. 8 bullets, right? You hold 9 in that clip, in that SIG 40, and you have 8 bullets, and you have that in a Keepsake box. They actually use the word Keepsake box. You have the phones in that wire or that wooden woven bag with paper wrapped around it. Yeah, everybody has some of those at the house, but the location is between a bedroom and a closet. And without knowing, and I actually went and looked on the for sale, the house is for sale, and I tried to see where that was at, and I couldn't really find it. But the way the police are wording it, they find it to be odd there. You have a bullet that's missing. It's found between the 2 girls, whatever it was found, and you have a clip with 8 that goes to that gun. I don't know. It seems weird. It seems odd that you would even do that or have that. We don't know what's on a digital data. There's 3,000 more pages of discovery at least, plus the things that they didn't put out. So those are things I want to hit on right now. Let's talk to some people in the chat on this Thursday afternoon. Today's Thursday, yeah. We can see the sun here in Pennsylvania today. Everything I'm saying is speculation. The more I hear about Richard Allen, the more I think that it's just dropping down. Reg asked me what kind of glasses I got on. They're Armani Exchange. They have like little, I don't even know what you want to call that on the side, leopard print. But my insurance covered it totally. So that's why I picked that. I'm not into, but I like them. They're like the clear, you know, type thing. Thank you. I hope that you like them and you're not making to make fun of them, Reg, but either way, you're okay. All right. We got some. I mean, he had 2 pagers. Yeah, he obviously kept everything big fish. I don't disagree with that. The only thing that I have questions about is, were those pagers, was it anything to do with work? What were they? But it's so many phones. But you could be right. You could be right about him being a pack rat. That absolutely could be a possibility. The 8 bullets in the 9, it holds 9 in the clip in the keepsake box. I would look at that and look at that other evidence together. And I'm sure they stripped through and went through every phone. And I think everyone keeps saying the digital, the Ron Logan, we're looking for this, we're looking for that. I think they found something there, even if it wasn't in those phones. The USB, I don't know if it's common for a guy like that to have a USB drive with all those phones. Kind of one of these things doesn't belong here. I got a bunch of old flip phones. I got a bunch of old pagers and old chargers, and then there's a USB drive. But you could argue, why would he keep that particular thing of interest to him with all of the old other shit? So I could see that. I could see where you're coming from there. Deja vu and hybrid places. How are you guys? Good morning. CJK. I think they call it wife's kid's old phone. I thought one flower. I didn't. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you never know. Maybe he had that on his phone, but it's possible that it was all that. But 13's a lot. And like I said, maybe it was from the daughters. I don't see Richard Allen doing that. I think he had a burner phone, and I'm very interested to see if they took a phone from anywhere else other than there. Or maybe he believed that he had gotten everything off a certain phone. They keep trophies, and a lot of times they say serial killers. Well, serial killers do that. Allen, whether he's a serial killer or not, I don't think that he is. I mean, I guess it's possible, but general killers in a lust type killing do this. Maybe he committed this murder in his 40s. Maybe he fantasized. Maybe he did smaller things for years, and then he was going to go on a tear, go on a spree, but he was so close to being caught, he laid back. And sometimes they're able to lay back, and they're able to have these items that they can live, that moment again in that little item. IDs are a big thing that they take, things like that. It's not always panties and underwear and things that people would think. Those things are taken a lot of times to destroy evidence. They might never find the sock. They might never find the panties that they're missing from the scene. He might have destroyed them. He might have not taken them as a keepsake. He might have known, I've dropped X amount of blood or this. I can't get rid of this. I can't throw this in the creek, if that's what he did. Mandy Ray, I think that Keegan Klein somehow, some way has some contact with Richard Allen in what you're saying. Maybe he never knew him personally. Maybe he did. But I think that there's something there, some kind of link to get him on with those girls. I do too. It's better today. I got to let my dog outside for a while, but yesterday was pretty rough. It was really, well, it was different. Yeah, were you talking about on the Frank show, Big Fish? I thought that was interesting too. I'm not going to stick up for Garrett Kurtz in any way, shape, or form for the kind of human being he is, but I don't know. You think a guy like that would know something about this, though, right? You think the local scales, as Andy Sipowicz used to call them, or like the local scumbags would all know if someone they knew did this murder, they'd all would know it was him, Well, maybe, we don't know who did this. All the local scumbags kind of go, like Friday scumbag meeting and say, hey, who killed these girls? Well, none of us know. So you think it was like an honest citizen that's stepped out of line and did this? But we talked about, brought that before. I don't know. I'd like to ask Ruckus that question because I kind of agree with Ruckus on that somehow. That there's somehow woven in there. But does it have to be put on the list? No, I guess it doesn't. Is their names excluded? Now, if you put KK on a witness list, like there was other people's initials and people were able to figure out who that were, everybody's going to know who that is. Yeah, if you read from what I could tell from there, if you read there's a like another thing above those boxes, and that'll tell you what those boxes mean. I think they're different on every sheet. I could be wrong. So if you look at the main page and you look at the very top, it'll tell you what each like section means. And that would be a Ruckus, LA question, someone police, Steve, someone like that. It could mean that they were received or they were shipped out. Was it brought in or put out? I'm not exactly sure. But that is a good question. Are we including theories and things? Yeah, we can include any theory you want, Big Fish. Against Allen or Logan, whoever else. I don't think Logan was on the bridge. I know other people do. I don't think Logan was involved in the immediate murder. I know other people do. Cover up ish. I don't know. That the guy was weird. You know what I mean? He was an alcoholic. He didn't trust police. But yeah, Big Fish, anything you got, as long as it's respectable, I'll listen to you. And again, I'm no Columbo. I'm just a guy who likes to talk and enjoys this stuff as far as the research angle and the thinking of the people's brains. I think so too. I've never heard that officially from law enforcement, but I believe that to be true, CJK, and I think that's what was going on. I think they were burner phones he was selling. Reg, that's a good point. However, maybe it's something that's being hidden, right? If there's a link, if there is a link, they know about it and they've known about it for a long time. But what brought them to Klein early on? What brought them to Klein early on, right after that investigation? And then, the contacting and the things like that, it leads me to believe something's there. And then all the damn court paperwork, if you go back and look at the court paperwork, it was like one day, one the next day, both the same day. So either it's intertwined or someone in the courthouse is just fucking with us, right? Haha, I'm going to show you YouTubers. This thing I could file any day, but I'm going to file it the same day that Alan filed this or something. Anything's possible, right? Yeah, I just don't see him as being that. I don't see him as being that type of human being. I just, not that I know a lot about him, but what I know about him and listening to some of his music, he has some music. It's all like, wah, the world. What's up, Grizz? Grismatically Clever with 2 Z's. He does a lot of, if you check his channel out, he does a lot. I don't know if I have any moderators in here or not. If you do, drop his link. A lot of cool videos and stuff like that. Into some Tech Death Hippie, another guy that does that. He just had a pretty cool Mobb Deep one. Yeah, BTK, if you ever watch that video, that's one of the most bizarre videos I ever saw where he goes, the judge is going through this because he's admitting to doing all this, and he goes step by step with no emotional, what appears to be no emotion on his face. But if you look and you talk to people that are really in the know on body reading, they say that he's getting off on this, extremely getting off on this. And that's these brains that are just, ugh. The Keepsake box held 8 bullets in a clip. That was their words were the Keepsake box. There, let me read this to you in a second because that's the thing I have a picture of. Because right away I looked at it and I'm like, whoa, 8 bullets. Hold on a second here. What do we have going on here? Oh, let me find where I had this. Yeah, I just had it all up here. But yeah, so the Keepsake box, you know what? I might even have a picture of that. I got something all over my phone. Bear with me 1 second here. I'm on the page. Floral case. We'll talk about the knife in a second. Yeah, guy had a lot of knives. I'm not saying that that's uncommon, especially for people in that area. If you talk to people from that area, guys have a lot of knives, pocket knives. The knife that I picked out was one particularly because I thought it was different. It was special, maybe, right? Okay, so let me read this to you. So what they put first is how they take it out. Sealed cardboard box containing 1 black Sig Sauer P226. That doesn't mean he had it in a cardboard box. They put it in a box and they seal it, and that's how they take it out. So everything you see after sealed plastic bag containing doesn't mean he had it in a sealed plastic bag. That's what they put it in and take it out. Okay. Sealed plastic bag containing 140 caliber S&W cartridge found in wooden Keepsake box on the dresser between closets and master bedroom. So between closets and master bedroom, there's a wooden Keepsake box on a wooden dresser. A place of prominence, not hiding it, But think about the stuff you put on your dresser. Usually it's important to you. Usually it's meaningful. Okay. Sealed plastic bag containing 2 magazines, one filled with 9 40 caliber cartridges and one filled with 8 40 caliber cartridges. So again, that's, it's why do you have 8? Why do you have 8? And I'm taking a little bit of a leap thinking that these are in that thing, because it only says the cartridge found inside. But the next thing to me links it to that box. But still, you have one with 8. So even if you have that in a gun safe, why do you keep it with 8? Why do you keep it with 8? And are they going to be able to somehow identify that bullet to that load that he had it loaded? DNA is DNA. His DNA is probably going to be on both. You would think it's going to be on that bullet too, right? Unless he cleans his guns. I know people that do that when they load weapons. They're kind of paranoid, I think. But the other thing is sealed paper bag containing paper wrapped wooden weave box containing 2 AudioVox device, 1 silver Motorola flip phone, 1 silver Motorola flip phone, 4 card chargers and outlets. So again, we went back to talked about where those phones were located. So we have 13 phones total taken. Okay. Listed, you have the floral one before, but in this paper wrapped wooden weave box containing 2 AudioVox device, 1 silver Motorola flip phone, and 1 silver Motorola. There are 2 Motorola flip phones, 2 different models. He only has these 2 old phones in this set by themselves. Okay. Sealed plastic bag containing 1 compact flash, 1 gigabyte card. So we don't know what's on that. We don't know for sure if that was taken out of that box too. So we have 13 phones, but only 2 of these old flip phones, which makes me think burner. And again, it's a theory. It's a theory. So what do you guys think about that? So Reg, yeah. So he had 1 clip with 9, 1 clip with 8. The sentence before talks about the Keepsake box, and it has a cartridge in it, but it doesn't say which cartridge is in it. Okay. I'm making a bridge and maybe taking a leap to say that was kept in that box. Other YouTubers have done it. Maybe we're wrong, but I'm taking that leap to say that. So if anyone would say, hey, it doesn't say for sure it was in that box, yeah, you guys can, you can have at me with that. Absolutely. But I just want to get people thinking the way I'm thinking. What's up, Justice Serve Daily? How are you? Thinking, and maybe you could say, hey, you know what? You made me think and I was able to prove you wrong. Well, that's fine. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I don't get mad at shit like that, No, Reg, thank you. But again, on that, but go to my community page and you could go into those documents. And again, I want to thank, I think it's Fox59. They did a really good job. Tech Death, what's up? Mob Deep, I'm an old Mob Deep guy. I actually had Juvenile Hell. I bought it after the Infamous came out, but I heard that they had an album. Listen how old I am. It was a CD. That doesn't make a much better CD as opposed to album. And I went and bought it after the fact, Juvenile Hell. It wasn't as good as, obviously the Infamous and my favorite, Hell on Earth. I know a lot of people like murder music, but so I wore this today, right? Indiana. If you remember the movie Hoosiers, it's an old Jimmy Chitwood jersey that I bought a few years ago on eBay. I don't know if anyone noticed that or not. Hoosiers is a fantastic movie about a high school basketball team from Indiana that no one gave them a chance. A bunch of kind of like dudes from the sticks, and they went and kicked everyone's ass, including the big city kids. So really good movie. Gene Hackman's in it. Yeah, we're talking about 13 phones, but yeah, family-wise, Alan's not going to get many. Maybe the daughter took a bunch, but why were those 2 phones and only those 2 phones in this wooden weaved paper covered container or box or basket, as they say? So that's another question for you. Let me know what you think, or maybe you can, get down into it. Yeah, I said it before, Justice Serve Daily, and the documents would back me up. In my opinion, on the documents was no one's allowed to talk or show or make copies of none of this shit. To me, that screams CSAM. No one should be looking at this, but there's certain people that have to, and that's what they're doing. You know, I'm sure that his attorneys, the police, no one wants to see this shit, but they have to do it. Have to do it. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know how many phones I have, but we talk about the 13, but the 2. So maybe we can actually, you know, kind of go against what I said early on and say maybe those other phones weren't that important. Maybe that Keepsake box wasn't that important. But this wooden woven box. Hey, Meow's here. What's up, Meow? You like the Friday scumbag meeting? Yeah. There's certainly people that know. And Meow knows because we work Flora. She's like the, you know, the guardian of Flora. So she knows that people know shit and we need them to talk, especially in Flora. I think that they will. I really do. Oh, no. Ottawa. Well, thanks for the update. Yeah, that's rough. I work Saturday, so I'm hoping there's no type of fires or anything because, yeah. Everybody saying hi to Meow. Oh, I saw that. They had a relationship, not like a weird relation, like a father-son type thing maybe. And I know he dated Ashley for a while. Here's something that I found really interesting. And I don't know if you guys follow Fig. Fig posted a video yesterday where, you know, he might as well have had the "What's Beef" from Biggie Smalls in the background because I think it was aimed at somebody. But anyways, that Ron Logan did, in a police report, admitted to his cousin, David Knoll, asked him to tell the police that he also drove him to the garbage dump or the transfer station, what they call it out there. So go to Fig Solve's page. He shows it in a video. I forget what the video is called, probably his latest one. And Ron Logan does ask for an alibi early on, too. He does ask for him to drive. So that right there kind of used. We never asked for the alibi for that. Well, he did. And it's not hearsay. It's actually in a police report, and Nolf reports it. It said, yeah, he asked me to say that I was there at 12 o'clock. I drove him to the transfer station. So he did try to cover both. I thought that was a really interesting thing that Fig had uncovered. He does a really good job on that. Yeah, Ruckus and Steve are good. Any old police that kind of gets that, and they can look at these documents and parse these documents different than we do. Because like we'll try to read them. Oh, hey, you know, we try to use our brains, but sometimes the way things are written, or just you would think, oh, it means this, and then you talk to the lawyer. Well, no, it actually means that. Well, why the hell why can't you lawyers just speak fucking regular language to people? Why you got to be so smart? Meow Skeptical, we talked. Me and Meow were just talking about someone else the other day. I was down a rabbit hole. Michelle, you can make an argument that these do clear Logan. I don't think they help support Logan in any way, and I've heard people make the argument, but, you know, there's still 3,000 pages of discovery. Fig's video was very much saying that. Michelle, you should go watch that if you haven't seen it because it's very – he's exonerating Logan too. I don't think Logan had anything to do with the murder or the planning of the murder. Could he have freaked out later and found the bodies and tried to do some kind of cover-up thinking the police are going to blame him? He's an alcoholic. He's had tons of run-ins. He don't like the cops. The cops don't like him. Could he have been in a bad state of mind and thought, well, I got to try to do something here? I still think that that's possible, but I think the further we go, the more unlikely it gets to me. Yeah, Kurtz is just not a very good human being, and there was some speculation that the second sketch was put out to look like Garrett Kurtz to put pressure on Ron Logan because they had this kind of father-son type relationship at some point. But I don't know. I don't personally, I don't see that. I still don't know what the hell they were doing with that second sketch. I've thought about it, and I hope someday we find out. Even if Alan pleads out, and I think he's going to plead out, guys. I really, really do. I do. Klein thing could be a red herring. We've seen a lot of red herrings in this case, right? Let's talk red Jeep, different things like that. The river search, like what the fuck was that? We still don't know what that is. I think the Klein thing, though, Meow, somehow he's tied to Alan getting to talk to these girls. I don't think it was a random, set of spider web trap, which I thought at one point might have been the case. And the more and more people, yeah, Keegan's on Spotify. Yes, his music's a little bizarre. I listen to it. I don't even get a hip hop type. I don't know, Nelly. No offense, Nelly. No, I shouldn't even say that. But it's like a Nelly type. Yeah, hey, we're gonna rap some country and then sing, that type of shit. But I listened to it for clues, just to see if I could hear something, or is there anything that one song, Blame on Me, or something. I listened to it a lot. And you got to see when it's made, when he did the music, when these things happened. But I couldn't find anything. Maybe I'm not smart enough, but I couldn't find anything out. Mathis, a name that I know. Yeah, there's people. I got to think, even if Richard Allen's a lone person in this, people have talked. People know. Someone has to know more than's being said, right? You would think, especially in a small town like that. You have that small town, and people talk. They have to talk. Yeah, and Alex is the man. I love Alex. I'm friends with him. And it isn't like I don't think Alex could find if he had some stuff under other names, because I sent Alex some stuff we talked about that I had found, and he kind of laughed and he said, no, he came across it too and said, no, I was able to rule that out. So the online presence, social media wise, he didn't have a whole lot, but he was doing stuff digitally. He was doing some things in the background. What I think with CSAM, my personal opinion. Yeah, I have a Discord. Ruckus has a Discord I'm in. I think I'm in a Floral. I'm in all kinds. I'm just learning how to use them, getting better. But all day, it's just people bullshitting. It's pretty cool. You pop in whenever you want. It'll say, hey, you missed 20 messages. You go back, see what people are talking about. You go on your lunch break or come home from work. What's going on? Or all these people stirring up stuff. And you can share a lot of pictures on a lot of digital media and stuff like that. Okay, we have a lot of good comments in here, but let me go back to one other thing that I wanted to talk about regarding all this. I'm still going through the document. It'll take me a week to really, really get through, because I will go through, take notes, go through. I like to hear people read them too. So I like to get both of all my senses spiked. I don't know. That's how it works for me. I really just dunk my head in the pool underwater and hold it there till I learn something. So in a way, that's what I'm kind of doing here. But so you look at all those things and you think, how the fuck did we not know that this guy was here? I watched a show where if you take the population of Delphi and you look at the guy on the bridge, and let's say you think that that's your guy, or that's the person that did this, and you look at the male population and the size, it would have narrowed it to 200 people out of 2,000. So roughly 200, 175 to 200 people. And of those 200 people, if we knew a person that lived relatively close to this crime, because everybody thinks it was done by somebody local or with intimate knowledge, whatever the police, whatever the reasoning is for that, that's what they think. So there has to be some kind of evidence that says, oh, yeah, someone came specifically here. I think that dip that they were in was kind of like a deer run. Hunting is probably a good place to hunt. Maybe the water inlets a little bit. Maybe the animals come down there for a drink. It's recessed in the ground, so you're not going to see it right away. A lot of people, Meow's been there. A lot of you have been there to be able to understand better than I do, just from looking in for pictures and topography maps. But how did they not know? Is it possible that Dolan and Allen know each other, and not that Dolan was trying to cover for Allen, to cover up a murder, but went back and said, oh, I know Richard. Richard was there. He wouldn't do something like this. And in a good old boys county network, maybe, oh, yeah, well, he was dressed like that and everything, but everyone dresses like that. And Dolan knows him. Dolan could vouch for him. So let's just take him off the list. We don't even need to worry about him. That certainly could have happened. They've admitted that they fucked up early in this investigation. We know that people have been at odds with each other. We know early on the FBI thought Ron Logan did it. The more I read that FBI Ron Logan warrant, there's so much inaccuracy in there. Now that we know these things, and the FBI wrote that, Like the time, you're saying 1:49, around 1 o'clock. Like no one fucking puts that. This is the FBI. These are some tight ass individuals. So I don't know what was happening, why they thought what they thought. Did they know? Were they sharing evidence? So maybe the FBI didn't know that David Nolf, Ron Logan's cousin, told police that, yeah, he did ask for an alibi at 12 o'clock to go to the transfer station. So they're withholding things from each other. The bullet, was the bullet found that day? If you read the paperwork, it's hard to not think that it was found that day. How would it not be? But it doesn't say anywhere. And there's growing momentum that it was found days later. We don't know where that came from. I always had a theory about this, and it's two ways. And this is just a theory. I'm going to get ready to get out of here. I'm going to leave you with this. I'm going to grab a couple questions quick. Here's a theory. Let's say the bullet that Alan has, this, whatever happens, happens. He has this rage, this lust kill. He realizes at the end of this, what have I done? What have I done? I let this monster inside of me take over. Alan, I believe, cocked on the bridge, loaded one into the chamber to scare the girls. After he saw what he did, after he realized I might get caught for this, he changed, demeanor changed, adrenaline stopped for a minute, and possibly, just possibly, and working the profile in the mental angle, which I'm not, I'm very novice. Maybe he cocked that one more time, and maybe he was going to put one in his head. And maybe when the bullet popped out, it kind of jarred him back and saying, oh my God. And then he went into getting out of here mode. Here's another thought about the same line. If they didn't find the bullet that day, maybe he went back to that location, contemplating suicide again. Something happened, something jammed that didn't work, and it was one of them, oh, I shouldn't kill myself moments. Like, I'm going to get away with this. These are two, me just theorizing, right? I can't get out of my head that he did not go back to that spot on that property at some point to relive it, to do something. Maybe it was years later, but I can almost guarantee you at some point he either physically went over and sat in that area or hung out in that area or did who knows what fucking what, or he watched that area from across, from a public part where he looked at that area. He was able to relive that event. And before I leave, my computer's starting to die here. My battery save's coming on. One more suggestion, or one more guess. This is a total guess. I predict in the next 2 to 3 weeks, as this stuff comes out and this thing goes downhill, Richard Allen will either, I'm not saying an attempt a suicide attack, but I think you're going to see some kind of health go downhill. Oh, he had to get rushed to the hospital for a heart attack or whatever the shit's going to be. Because I think he knows he's done. I think he was this big tough guy. He was scared at first. He was scared when they saw that picture. When no one came forward, he had this bravado. Oh, I'll give you free pictures. I'll give, and now April 3rd happens. He got information before. He tells his wife, tells his mother on the phone he did it. He starts fucking eating paper and acting like a goof. I think you're going to see that now. I really do. I think something's going to happen. Maybe it's a court appearance. Maybe further in 2 or 3 weeks, but there's going to be some dramatic. He's going to want everyone feeling sorry for him because that's all he has left. Those are my 2 cents. If anyone disagrees with me, that's fine. Be cool about it. We can always discuss and debate, just not today because my computer is going to die. Shane, I believe too that Libby's phone was found underneath her. Yeah, the recording, I heard 43. I've heard other things too. It wasn't a single bullet. All it says is it was a cartridge. Right underneath that, we have one where there's 9 and there's 8. A cartridge should hold, or not a cartridge, but a clip should hold 9 bullets. There's a clip with 8 bullets that's, in my opinion, in a place of prominence. Could that have been the clip that he used when he lost that last bullet? That's what I'm getting at, Michelle. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but that was my point. Anything? Yeah, I don't know. Very interesting. Of the 13 phones, meow, probably some of them are Kathy and some of them are her daughters. But we want to look at the 2 Motorola flip phones that were found in his little wicker basket or his little special place. Those 2 were different. Those 2 were different. 13 total, which is a lot, but those 2 were different. Yeah, join the Discords, hybrids, and inviting everybody in. I really have to get out of here. Meow, I don't know how they didn't know for 6 years. They have to tell us, even if they fucked up. You know, be stand-up people. Be stand-up people. Oh. Yeah. Well, I don't know. He was refusing to eat. I've never been in jail, so I can't speak to what it's like. I really cannot. Yeah, the hard drives, I'm interested to see what those are. But hey, it's about noon. We'll let you guys get out of here. Hope you liked it today. Like, subscribe, share. Check out my community page. Those documents are in good order. Watch the replay, post comments later. I'll do my best to answer. I just wanted to lay you my couple theories out there, and that's what I think. But go through this stuff, guys. Dig deep. I mean, this is an opportunity to really research, and there's a lot of shit in there. And remember what the police tell us, totality of evidence. So you find 1 or 2 things over here that are off. You have to weigh them against everything else, right? In my opinion. Also, look up what I shared about they can, in my opinion, use that phone call to Kathy Allen and his mother in court because they're notified that this isn't a 2-way communication. There's a third party listening on the line. So check that out. I shared that from a law review, and I'm no law dog, but it's very interesting information. Thank you, everyone, that had questions. Thanks, everybody that came in. Hit the like for me, please. Share, sub, and check out the videos from your favorite subscriber or favorite people today, favorite creators, because there's a ton. Frank, Marv. I mean, there's all kind of people doing all kind of good stuff right now. So help them out. You know, Ruckus and Steve are getting ready to do Ruckus and Steve do the Midwest, which I'd like to get a camera in there and cover that whole trip. Maybe that's possible. Maybe it isn't. We'll figure it out. So before we go, I'll finish my last cup of coffee and we'll say Doug Carter's tentacles are starting to come in. The tentacles are starting to come in. So enjoy your day. Coach Kev out.